Let's talk about the Megamon 15 monitor from Osee. We'll find out what it can and can't do, and what is unique about this budget 15-inch production monitor.
CineD, your digital cinema tech resource, supported by B&H and CVP.
Hi, I'm Florian from CineD. I've been using lots of different monitors in different sizes for pulling focus, checking exposure, and framing shots. Stepping up from a tiny built-in camera monitor, there are plenty of 5-inch and 7-inch on-camera monitors to better judge your picture. This monitor, though, is definitely not meant to be rigged on a camera. It weighs just under 4 kilograms or 9 pounds. Instead, this monitor is meant to sit on a light stand or desk. Let's talk about the panel. This is an LED backlit 15.4-inch 1920 by 1200 Full HD IPS panel with a 1450 to 1 contrast ratio and a 178-degree viewing angle. The screen size is comparable to most laptop screens, but the bezels are much larger in order to protect the panel from being damaged on set or during transport. Even on the highest brightness setting, colors and contrast look pretty consistent. About the colors, one of the most important aspects of a professional monitor, this is a 10-bit panel that covers 100% of the Rec. 709 color gamut. You can calibrate this monitor using the Osee Calibrator software on a Windows computer, a separately available USB calibration cable, and an X-Red color calibration probe. On the back of the monitor, you can connect your camera using 2 3G SDI inputs or 1 HDMI input. Sadly, you cannot display the image from 2 inputs side by side or picture-in-picture. You can only switch between the inputs in full screen mode. There is also 1 SDI output to send the SDI signal to another device, but it cannot cross-convert the image from HDMI to SDI, which is a shame. You can also find another BNC input, which is a very outdated video-in input. There is a 3.5mm audio-in jack and a 2.5mm remote port. Power is supplied by an AC wall outlet or from a battery via the 4-pin XLR DC input. Speaking about battery power, the monitor comes with either a V-mount or gold mount battery plate that attaches via a detachable P-tap to 4-pin XLR cable. The Megamon 15 has a maximum brightness of 1000 nits, which is usable in many scenarios, even without having to use the included sunshade. On a side note, this monitor is an updated version of the original Megamon 15, which only had 800 nits of brightness. It comes in a very convenient bag, which doubles as a protection for the monitor during transportation, as well as being a handy sunshade when you're using the monitor in a bright environment. What's really clever is the metal pass-through on the bottom of the bag, so you can put the monitor on a light stand even while it's inside of the bag. You can even store your power and video cables in the pouches on the back of the bag. Unfortunately, the light stand mount on the back of this monitor constantly gets loose. This might be the same issue that my colleague Jeff ran into while reviewing the larger 21-inch Osee monitor. Be sure to watch his review too. One problem I ran into is the limitation of this monitor to only be able to work with HD or 2K signals. You cannot feed it a 4K signal. This means you have to either use a camera that can output an HD or 2K signal, regardless of what you record, or send the signal from your camera through a converter box or wireless video system that can convert your signal to HD or 2K. In my opinion, this is the biggest downside of this otherwise good monitor. So which signals can this monitor display? The SDI port can take 1080p up to 60 frames per second, and the HDMI port can process signals up to 1080p 30 frames per second. You control the monitor using these 11 buttons on the front. An input button to switch between SDI and HDMI, 4 function or user buttons, 4 directional buttons to navigate the menu. The up and down buttons also let you access a quick menu to change the backlight, sharpness, contrast, and some more. An OK, save, return, or main menu button, and the power on or off button. Navigating the menus feels a bit cumbersome and sometimes confusing with the directional buttons, just like the menus themselves. The function and user buttons are also a bit confusing at first. Here's how they work. The F1 to F4 buttons can be configured with any of the following functions: waveform, Luma RGB or Parade, histogram, RGB and Luma, vector scope, false color, focus assist, peaking, zebra, anamorphic D-squeeze in 1x, 133x, 1.5x, 166x, and 2x, lookup tables and markers like center marker, aspect ratio, safe area, compositional crosshatch, and so on, and audio meters. In the menu, you can set the size and position and configure all the tools to your preference. One tool I'm constantly using, but I'm missing on this monitor, is focus magnification, which can hopefully be added in a future firmware update. When you long press any of the function buttons, you can select one of the 4 available user presets. A preset is like a monitor profile that saves your video input, functions, and settings. So you can, for example, have user 1 set up with aspect ratio markers, waveform, and false color programmed to the function buttons. Another use for the user profiles is if multiple people share this monitor, just like we have here in the CineD studio. Johnny uses a Fujifilm X-H2, so I can set his user to HDMI as the default input and program his preferred tools to the function buttons. Nino, on the other hand, uses a Sony FX9, so I set his user to use the SDI input, set the proper Sony LUT, and choose his preferred settings for the function buttons. All they have to do now is long press on their user button and the monitor is set up for them and ready to go. The Megamon 15 is passively cooled, so there are no fans that might interrupt in a quiet room or scene. Hot air simply comes out through the vents on top. Also on the back of the monitor are 2 mounting positions for the included cheese plate, which you can use to mount wireless video transmitters or receivers. On the bottom of the housing, there are 2 openings to attach the included feet. There is also a light stand mount included. There are threads for a VESA mount on this monitor as well. This monitor retails for $899, so it sits in the budget category compared to higher-end alternatives from Small HD, TV Logic, or Flanders. There are not many other products to compete with at this price though, but you also have to compromise on color accuracy, ease of use, and input options. But for this price, it's a very solid monitor to always have with you on set or as a small reference monitor while editing. If you know how to color manage and down-convert your camera signals, then this monitor can last you a long time. If you have any questions, be sure to write us a comment and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out CineD.com for more filmmaking news and reviews. Thank you very much.